Hey, I'm Miss Lauren, and I'm so excited to meet you all. And I wanted to introduce you to our artist this week. Her name is Yayoi Kusama. She is one of the most influential artists in the world who is currently still alive. So Cadence and I want to read this book with you today to let you know a little bit about her story and her life. Yayoi Kusama, From Here to Infinity. Yayoi Kusama was born in the country of Japan on the island of Honshu in a town called Matsumoto City. An old palace made of wood and stone overlooked a moat where swans swam, and the streets were lined with little shops, and snow-capped mountains rose in the distance, swallowing up the sun as it went down in the evening. Yayoi's family owned nurseries where all kinds of flowers and vegetables grew, and workers tended the plants as they matured from seed to sprout to stalk. But Yayoi yearned for a different life, far from the countryside. She dreamed about what lay beyond the mountains, in places far from Matsumoto City. She longed to leave home and see the world. Yayoi's mother wanted her to stay home and learn old-fashioned manners, how to dress elegantly, and how to walk demurely and eat politely and find a proper husband. But Yayoi wanted to be an artist. Every day she went outside with ink and brushes and paper. She drew things that she saw and the things she imagined. She looked closely at the pebbles that lined the riverbed and at the leaves and stalks of plants, and she drew them as chains of tiny cells that looked like dots. Can you see what's on her paper while she's drawing? When she was older and studying in art school, her teachers disapproved of her work. They demanded that Yayoi paint in the traditional Japanese style. She wanted to go where she could live without rules. And when she was 28 years old, she packed up her silk kimonos and thousands of drawings and stuffed dollar bills down in the toes of her shoes. It was her first airplane trip. There were only 4 other passengers, and the weather was stormy, and the rain and lightning, and the airplane wobbled and dipped as it flew to America. In New York, Yayoi went to the top of the Empire State Building, the tallest building in a city full of tall buildings. When she looked down, she saw buses and cars and yellow taxis zooming up and down the avenues, and bankers and teachers and artists rushing to work. From the 86th floor, they looked like little bitty dots. She felt very far from the quiet Matsumoto City and her mother's rules. Here, it seemed like anything was possible. Yayoi set about turning her drawings into dots, into paintings. The dollar bills that she had brought to America quickly ran out, and she spent what little money she had left on paint and canvas. She worked day and night. She painted when she was cold. She painted when she was hungry. She painted when she was lonely. And she turned her dots into sculptures, into soft stuffed tubes that covered sofas and chairs and boats. She was devoted to her dots, for they were her way of thinking about the world among the stars. She thought the world was one dot among millions of other dots. It was her way of thinking about infinity. Sometimes when she grew frustrated, she would visit the Museum of Modern Art. And as she gazed at paintings by other artists, she thought about why and how they were made. She looked at pictures of dancing girls and swirling knights, trying to solve them as if they were puzzles. You see Vincent van Gogh and Rene Magritte, and this one is by Matisse. And this one over here is by Gauguin. And then, I'm not sure on that one. I'll have to look it up. Her paintings seemed so different from those she had seen at the Museum of Modern Art. And when she was at last ready to show her work in public, she invited all the friends she had made in New York. When she arrived at the gallery, the crowd was spilling out onto the sidewalk. Look, somebody's bought her painting already. Her friends lifted her into the air and shouted, "Yay, you've finally done it!" Word about her artwork spread quickly. Her friends told their friends, and newspapers wrote about her work, and reporters clamored to interview her about her dots. Now she began to show them in cities all over the United States and Europe. Look at all those magazines. Isn't that neat? Her dots were covering the world. They appeared in Venice in thousands of dot-shaped mirrors scattered on a lawn. Can you imagine if we saw a whole lawn full of mirrored balls? That would be amazing. Look at this one. She painted pumpkins with dots and put them on a pier. Fun. She painted dresses and t-shirts on people walking down the street and in mirrored rooms where glowing dots were reflected again and again and again. It's a mirror of infinity. The different dots on the buildings, people in the windows, on hats. A mirrored room, so it just keeps going and going and going. Even though it's only one Yayoi, when you look in the mirror, you can see lots of her. You see the mirror? Having visited many countries all over the world, Yayoi returned to Japan. The country had changed since she left, with many different artists challenging the old traditional style, as Yayoi had been doing all along. She still lives in Japan, and she continues to paint her dots every single day. Here's some of the paintings that she's done in her lifetime. Here's that big chair. I think I want to sit in that. It almost feels like it might tickle. And here's the infinity room with all the mirrors and the lights. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Wow. Here's her obliteration room. What if Mom lets you paint the kitchen white and put dots all over the kitchen? Wouldn't that be so much fun? And here's a picture of Yayoi with one of her sculptures. Thank you for joining me on our reading today. I hope to see you again soon in class. Bye.